Call this meeting to order. I thank our substitute clerk, Jenna. Will you please call the roll?
Yes, sir. Mayor Miller,
Here.
Ms. Parker? Yes, hello. Yeah. Mr. Self is absent. Mr. Rockler?
Here.
Mr. Lopez?
Here.
Mr. Robinson?
Here.
Mr. Merrick?
Here.
Mr. Elkins?
Here.
And Ms. Cordova? Here.
Okay, we have a quorum. I'd ask that you please stand. Councilman Elkins is going to lead us in the invocation and I'll lead us in the pledge.
Let's pray. Dear Heavenly Father, we come before you this evening. I pray for this council meeting tonight. Please give us the wisdom and guidance as we deliberate on the items before us. May every decision that we make be righteous for in our sight, in your sight, for our benefit and for your glory, God. We ask this in the name of Jesus, God, and it's in your Son's most holy and precious name. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Salute the flag of the state of New Mexico and see a symbol of perfect friendships among united cultures.
Welcome, everyone. Our next item is public comment. The public has the opportunity to provide comment on subjects regarding city business during the public comment period. Speakers' comments will be limited to 3 minutes unless the mayor and/or councilors request more information. The time limit is given in an effort to allow public input, but also to move the agenda forward in a prompt yet efficient manner. All speakers must sign in at the beginning of the meeting. Topics are limited to 6 speakers per topic. We have one today, Ms. Carol Milner. If you would please identify yourself for the record and proceed.
My name is Carol Milner, and I thank you, council members, for this opportunity to speak. I'll read this so as not to waste anyone's time. I don't know if this has been addressed lately. I know that the cemetery is using reclaimed water now, but because of the sprinklers water in the afternoon, often when the wind's blowing, it seems the trees that are still alive do not receive the benefit of the sprinklers. I want to suggest that watering be done at night or early morning, but if not, possibly a drip system could be implemented to water the trees. Also, I know funds are limited, but I hope that somehow we can afford to cut down the dead trees in the cemetery. Personally, I feel like these dead trees are a disgrace to our city. I would also like to speak to the firing of our city manager. I believe Sarah Austin was willing to work with community members regarding many of the issues our community is facing. She was hired just a few years ago and asked to deal with a lot of problems, many of which have been brewing for 10, 20, 30 years. I like Sarah Austin, and I'm sorry to see her go. I'm also sorry that our city will be paying for her services while looking for someone else to come in and try to address these many issues we face.
Thank you. Next item is approval of the minutes for the previous meetings. The first meeting that we need to approve the minutes for is the regular meeting of March 26, 2024. Motion by Mr. Merrick, a second by Mr. Lopez. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion carries. Next is approval of the minutes of the special meeting of April 2nd, 2024.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Lopez, second by Mr. Elkins. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We have 2 presentations this evening. Our first presentation is a update or communications dispatch department presentation. Ms. Combs.
Good evening, Mayor, council members. I believe you guys got a copy of the update in your packets. I'm just going to briefly go through it. I have 10 available positions in dispatch. Right now I have 9 people in dispatch. I have 1 position available, which is really good. I continue to get a steady number of applications every month. I have about 3 or 4 right now. I have to review and set up interviews for our last position open. So, we're really excited about that. We haven't been fully staffed in a really long time. We do have a 3rd radio console now, and so, with being fully staffed, we'll be able to have 2 people on duty at all times, if not 3. So that really helps out, especially since we do continue to see an increase in calls every single month, coming into our center. We were able to do, we had some salary savings this year, so we were able to purchase a vehicle for our own department. So that comes in handy whenever our staff have to go to Santa Fe to attend the Telecommunications Academy. And also it also provides them transportation for when they go to conferences or to training. We do continue to meet monthly. We have monthly potlucks, but this month is special because April 14th through the 20th is National Telecommunications Week. During that time, we usually get together as a group. We decorate dispatch. This year I have purchased new backpacks for them and their thin gold line pins for them, their lapel pins for them. So I'll be presenting those to them during that week. And that's all I have.
Any questions? Which comes? I have you right here. We have a proclamation with regard to your week that you mentioned. I'd like to read it and present it to you guys. This proclamation, April 14th through April 20th, 2024, honoring the emergency communication dispatchers. What is the thin gold line? Whereas those professionals who have dedicated their lives, hearts, and souls to being on the other end of a phone or radio when society needs them most. Whereas they are the voices to calm the frightened mother whose baby is not breathing. Whereas they are the voice that consoles a spouse when the love of their life has passed away. Whereas they are there when you hear a bump in the night and something just isn't right. Whereas they are the voices that bring light to some of our darkest times. They're often forgotten and often unrecognized for the work they do. They do not do the job for the great pay or convenient work hours, but because they want to make the world a little bit safer for all of us. Between the thin red line, white, and blue lines of public safety lies the thinnest gold line. This gold line represents those who rarely are seen, the dispatcher. The calm voice in the dark of the night, and the golden glue that holds it all together. The invisible hand calming the storm, honoring the dispatchers. Now, therefore, I, Mike Narr, Mayor, City of Portales, New Mexico, in recognition of this event, do hereby proclaim the week of April 14th through April 20th, 24 as Telecommunications Week.
These are just some of my dispatchers who came to be here tonight because we kind of knew about the proclamation, but they wanted to be here to support me. No one I spoke, but this is Chelsea, she's the senior dispatcher. This is Simona, Heather, and Crystal.
Watt said that proclamation is very, very true. Amen. You guys don't ever get to see a lot of the outcomes. Sit there and you wonder what happened. I know you probably have one of the toughest jobs in all public safety, so we appreciate you very much.
Mr. Mayor. 110 Portales. On behalf of the fire department, city council, and all city staff, I would like to thank our dispatch center for all that you do. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. We have 3 discussion items. Our first discussion item is the Water Advisory Committee update, Councilman Merritt.
All right. We met this past Monday. We had a Zoom meeting with BBS&A, the engineering firm that we have out of Albuquerque. And had quite a few questions for them. We're in the process of trying to decide whether to go proceed forward with the geophysical survey on the proposed well field and some other additional state land. And there was some questions back and forth about the process, the order of things that we needed to do. And we're still looking for an agreement that we have with the state, giving us that authority to drill on that land. And once we get that, then I'm comfortable in presenting to the council and going for a vote to get that geophysical survey done so that we can see where we have the best percentage of trying to find a good producing well. And but until we get that agreement, I don't think we need to move forward on that, because we don't want to expend the money and then find out that they're not going to allow us to. So I think it's critical that we get that agreement and have it in hand and make sure that everything is up on it. So we also had some discussion about the need of putting an additional tank in the well field to aid in alleviating some of the pressure off the wells, having to pump that for such a long distance. I think that we might actually see a gain in some of the well production if we can do that. And that was part of our request from the state water board. And I think that would be one of the primary things we needed to go ahead and implement and get in place, because even as we expand the well field, that is another thing, another phase of it was to put in that tank and a booster system. And I think it would be beneficial to get that in place where we could alleviate some of the strain off the wells that are currently there. Let's see. We're going to do some well testing in the near future to make sure that we do see an increase in production when they're not having to pump into the pipeline and push that water that distance. So we also have a upcoming tour of the wastewater facility. Our group does, and we're going to go out there and see how that process works. See if we can help in trying to make sure that that's working as efficiently as possible. So that's upcoming. You remember anything else, Mike, that I might have forgot?
No, I mean, covered it.
Okay. So we are working in that direction. There's just T's to cross and I's to dot before we get there.
Any questions for Mr. Merrick at this point? I will say that I think Ashley did find some of those documents you were talking about, and when we have a chance to look at those, the lady's name is Faith Crosby at the State Land Office, and I'll get you that information. So, okay, thank you. Next is a Water Department update, Ms. Flores.
Good evening, council and mayor, for keep it as brief as I can, as usual, not much to update. We did update or install the junior high on South Abilene Street, as well as the hydrant on South Dallas and East 7th. The next one we're gonna be working on is University and Globe. So I think that makes up to 7 hydrants that we have updated. Well, just like Mr. Merrick said, in regards to the moving forward with our well field study, you know, that's one thing that we're just looking to make sure that we obtain and get the well field as useful as we can and beneficial for the future. Next, you know, with the recommendation on behalf of the water department to continue the water conservation efforts and stay on stage 3 water restrictions, as already seen an increase in water production by the increase from the well field by 80%. The city is still waiting on the flow meters, which I actually got information they have been shipped and they should be here within a week or so. And then just to be able to get them installed will be probably another week or 2 weeks after that. And then we'll be able to determine what our outtake is, our output from the Johnson Hill tanks. But other than that, we're, you know, still working on all our leaks and everything that pops up in the water department to make sure that our city is working efficiently.
Questions for Ms. Forrest?
I guess I've got one, and it may be more for the council, and it's regarding the stage 3 that you mentioned. What is the requirements of stage 3 that keeps us in stage 3 conservation? Do you know?
Well, moving forward, Mike Davidson also knows in regards to with our water efficiency plan that we're obtaining to construct and get together to build to see where where we can be in the future. But as of right now, with how the production moves from the water that is, if we come off of stage 3, pretty much it's implementing that we let the tanks deplenish, you know, we let people start watering, start washing their vehicles and such forth. The tanks can drop real low. And it can take up to a day to 2 days to fill those tanks back up, considering, you know, whenever we're in the high peak of time, which that starts roughly around these times, we can use up to 5 million to 7 million gallons a day. Yes, we do have the tanks, but again, both the Johnson Hill tanks are simultaneously. So whenever they're both depleting at the same time. And then we have our reserves at Lime Street, but that is for pretty much emergency, depending on how our tanks are filling up.
Okay, and so to go on to stage 3, did that, per the current drought plan that we have,
Mhm.
that had to go as an action item through council? Did we ever do that?
Mr. Mayor, Councilman, right now I visited with Chris Mendoza and we are planning to bring that exact topic to the Water Advisory Board to be brought up through the proper committees for council action. So that is on our plans and hopefully that will be before y'all sooner rather than later so that y'all can make your determination on which way you would like to go.
Okay. So are we on stage 3 if there has not been an action item to be put there? Because you had to have had an action item to be put on stage 3 per our current drought plan. And I don't think that ever happened. We may need to be on stage 3. That's not what I'm arguing, but if we have documentation that says that we follow certain procedures, I think we need to be following them.
Which we did because last year, whenever our tanks got below 18 foot, that's whenever we went into emergency action in regards to, because I think like a week later, we were already close down to 12 foot in our tanks.
Right,
So-
but it had to have been voted on in order to enter stage 3 per our drought plan, is what I'm saying.
Right,
So
But-
I don't mind voting on it. I
Mhm.
just think we need to vote on it if that's what our current plan says. At least while we're in the process of updating the new plan, at least to make sure that we're following the procedures that we need to be.
and that is implemented into the new plan,
Okay, but
the new
that's,
plan.
But Steve, didn't, in that plan, isn't there an emergency clause where the city manager or the public works director at that time could go forth and make that decision based off of the emergent state that we were in?
There is that provision. I'm not sure. I spoke with Preston this afternoon. I'm not sure if it's in the drought plan or in the city code, but yes, there was provision that allowed that. I know it, I don't know that it wasn't in the drought plan, but I know the city took action on that.
okay.
And I'll try to find it. Couldn't find it today. I didn't have time.
Well, I looked through the minutes and didn't see
Yeah.
where we ever took action on it. And the drought plan at least says that you have to take action on it. So that'd be my recommendation to do it.
And bringing it up through the committees will allow us to review that and
Right.
ensure that we're following the proper process.
That's all I'm asking.
Anything else for Ms. Forrest?
So just one quick thing, because we're getting close to summer. I just want to be clear, as long as we're on stage 3 or staying on stage 3, we're not, I've already had people ask, we're not filling the city pool, correct? I mean, I just want.
As far as right now.
Out there and everybody understands it.
Mhm.
I think there's other reasons, though. We're not feeling this.
Well, I do too, but we're not filling it, period.
Right.
So I just want to make sure that's cleared on there. So.
Okay, anything else? Thank you, ma'am. Our next discussion item is the Portales Roosevelt County Service Agreement, Chief Kathy and Council.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. In your packets and via email, I did blind copy all of you with the agreement that was proposed with some of the staff recommendations in red. for your review and your consideration. And I'll be glad to answer any questions, or if you'd like me to go over those proposals, I'll be glad to, but it's your preference.
Yes.
Okay, so,
Waiting.
okay, first of all, I just want to thank everybody who has helped with negotiations, from the public giving input as what we need to do, Roosevelt County for working with us. The changes, I would like you to go through, TJ, just so everybody's aware. Everything that we have listed in this agreement is all the services that we are currently already providing. We're not taking anything away. I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, everything that's listed under dispatch was pulled from our current agreement.
Correct.
And just so that we are providing everything as we can for dispatch based off of the needs. And then E911, sorry, response zone, that is currently the area that we currently already serve.
Christine, will you pull up the map? So just starting at the top, the number one is fire and emergency medical services, EMS response. We added within E911 response zone 461, which, as you can see on the map, is our current response zone. So it provides a clear picture of what council is agreeing for us to respond to. And it's simplified. It's what we've historically done. It doesn't mean we don't respond on mutual aid requests or anything further, but it just puts it down on paper what council is agreeing for the fire department to respond to, whether it be fire or EMS. Is that clear to everyone? Simplified enough. Number two is animal control. The recommendation made by Kelly McClellan was to add limited to euthanasia services of dangerous animals to the Roosevelt County Sheriff's Office, which I believe was a recommendation made by Councilman Rackler, if I'm not mistaken.
That was part of it, and I did today speak with the sheriff a little bit about the topic to make sure I was clear and not say anything that I was wrong about.
Yeah.
Trying not to mislead anybody.
Mhm.
He did reiterate that's the main purpose, but there is occasionally a dog they can't handle or don't know how to handle. They still want to be able to drop those off. It's not picking up strays in the county. It's not.
Mhm.
It's not any of that's helping the sheriff's department with those ones that either need to be put down or cannot be handled.
Okay.
And I think all of those things were discussed, just, and you know, you're gonna go into the next one, which is a long description of what
Yeah.
dispatch does,
Mhm.
which we all already knew when we negotiated this.
Mhm.
And so we were trying to keep it simple.
Yes, sir.
And straightforward, and it was already voted on by the county this morning.
Mhm.
So anyway.
Well, and
Yes,
from my
the
standpoint-
euthanasia, other than occasionally they have one that they just can't handle, and they need to include that.
Okay, so whatever council agrees to, we as staff are comfortable with. This is just our recommendation for these specific items from the prospective department directors. And then, as Mayor Pro Tem Cordova mentioned, we wanted to make sure that the sheriff's department was receiving the services that they needed, that was originally decided upon. So the dispatch director copied and pasted the portion in there so that it was clear, so that SO was protected. So that in a year, if something happens, they still receive the services that they wanted. And that's why that was all added, and I can read through it if you'd like, but. And then the final addition was from the police chief under item B, number 1, detention services at the Roosevelt County Detention Center. The addition is in red there: for all arrested persons delivered to the facility with completed charging documents to present upon delivery. Just kind of clarified it a little bit. And I'll be glad to answer any questions if council has them.
Any questions?
I have one, Mr. Mayor.
Yes, sir.
Chief, on number item 1, where it talks about city commission. And I just wonder, is it important for us to say city council rather than city commission?
Which item is it, sir?
Item number 1,
Oh,
I don't know, it sound like I don't know, is that a legitimate question or not, but I don't feel like the city council is mentioned in this. So I wonder if that's where it should be.
I think that's just a correction.
Yeah, I think it just needs to be city
Well-
council instead of city commission, because we're not a commission.
Yeah, so
So,
yeah, they need to correct that.
because commission in this state means something different.
Yeah.
thank you.
Anything else?
I would just like to say that the county did approve this today. We tried to make it as simple and, well, they made it as simple and easy as they possibly could, and we really, really appreciate that. With these changes, I know that it's gonna take just a little bit longer to go back, but it's literally everything that we've already done. You're shaking your head.
And again, this is just the staff proposal to council. It is completely within your right to choose what services you want your departments to provide.
So I guess what did the county approve today? If this is
They approved this
With-
minus the
with the
red.
red, oh, minus the red.
Minus the rest.
Yeah.
Okay. Now I'm with you.
Well, I think the red's very important, just to delineate. It doesn't make this a huge, long document. But it just clarifies a few things that could add to confusion in the future when. That's just my opinion. We don't have this listed as an action item today. I thought we did, but the agenda doesn't have it as that, so.
Well, and if you'd like to give me your opinions and how you would like me to update it, and I can get it on the next agenda if you so wish.
Well, it's gonna need to be on the next agenda one way or the other,
Yes,
so we can approve it.
Yes, sir.
I guess, if I might.
Yes, sir.
And apologize for being naive about the process of everything, but I thought when we put it on last time as written and we voted that we were gonna move forward. And now we're wanting to change it. It just seems like we're going back on a prior vote that we had already agreed to. So I'm kind of confused by that. If we maybe need to write some of these things as an addendum. Just for clarification, I could see that, but I think when you start rewriting it, now we're right back to the negotiation thing. That's my opinion.
So I don't feel that it's, so when we do the contract, I don't think we're moving backwards. When we decided to move forward with just doing the in-kind services, we still have to agree on a proposal. So that's just what we're doing now. So I don't feel like we're backtracking. I feel like we're just, we were presented a proposal and we're putting our input and we move forward from there. It's not like we're backing off from our agreement to do in-kind services.
I don't feel like it is either, so. Clarification.
Well, and if council would like, I'd be more than willing to set up a meeting between the boots on the ground, so to speak, to ensure that this outlines exactly what detention needs, exactly what the sheriff's department needs to ensure that all the needs of the community are met, because y'all have already agreed on the wash for services. So that's been agreed upon. But we want to ensure that the detention center gets what they need. Sheriff's department gets what they need, we get what we need, and that it's clearly defined so that everyone's protected.
Well,
But
and you know, that the county may come back and say they want something changed in their detention portion of it as well. I don't think that, I mean, I don't see what the problem would be for the wording of it. I do like that it says completed charging documents, so that puts accountability back on our department, that we have to have everything done prior to just taking somebody over there. So I did like that Chief added that. I just have one question for
Yes,
you.
ma'am.
Can you explain the 461 zone and what all map that covers?
Okay.
Because I don't want anybody to feel like they're being left
of
out.
course. Historically, and Mayor Miller can correct me if I'm wrong, but a long time ago, they set up these zones for fire and EMS response. And as far as I know, they've been barely changed over my lifetime. Portales Fire has always historically responded to 461 in the top, depending on which screen you're at, the light green, that encompass the city all the way to the county line north, state line east, and then west to Roosevelt Road Y, except that little jot out on US 70, and then south towards Dora to Roosevelt Road 12. It's roughly a little over 300 square miles that Portales Fire Department has been charged by council to respond to.
And the other zones, just for clarification, are covered by Elida, Dora, Mill and Sand, Causey, Arch.
Yes, sir.
Lloyd.
Lloyd.
So it's just their respective areas.
Yes.
And like he said, it doesn't mean that they don't go in with mutual aid when they're not able to respond or whatever, so.
So I have a question. The commissioners haven't seen this version.
No, sir.
I talked to Tina this afternoon and I did tell her that I would print her out a copy so that she could take it back because she's gonna have to put it back on the agenda as well. So I can get that to her today. She is in the audience and I appreciate you being here.
Well, and I can email it to her when I sit down as well, if you'd like.
Yeah.
If she would like.
Well, this,
To Roy Lee as well.
Okay.
And yeah, I have Roy Leah.
I'm here as well.
Well, I was looking, I'm not the negotiator, sorry.
I think. Just my opinion, but it looks like the things that were added are just basically clarifications of existing things. So.
So if everybody is okay, with Mike and I moving forward with giving this back to the negotiating team and then moving it back onto their agenda so we can both get it corrected. I did tell Tina that if we needed to have a meeting to get this done, we would be more than willing to do that. And I hope that you all agree with that comment that I'm making. And that way we can, I think we're all ready for this to be laid to bed and just worked on as far as here we are, we're doing work for our community and this is where we need to move forward. So with that, I would just like to recommend that we move forward with what we have on listed.
I will,
So what I'd like to see is that regardless of the final agreement is on the agenda for the 23rd meeting. Okay,
But this is not an action item, so it's just a discussion, so we don't make any kind
I
of.
would, I would like to see that meeting include those boots on the ground he discussed. I think that for it to be completed correctly, those people need to be there.
okay,
I will get it updated, fix the item. Will you reach over and turn off my radio, please? Thank you. And get it updated into y'all and to the county as well.
okay. All right, we have one action item tonight, at least in our regular agenda. And so Chief, if you'll just stay put.
Yes, sir.
The action item is signature of authorization for banking services, resolution number 2024-06.
Yes, thank you, Mayor and Council. This is being brought to you yet again to get the banking services signatures updated to meet the current needs of the city with the changes that have been made so that we can continue operating and doing what you've charged us to do. And I'll stand for any questions.
I have one. I was just curious if we couldn't wait till today is over till we decide things that are coming up and then do this at the next meeting. Is there not enough signatures to get us from now to the next meeting?
It was pretty tight getting payroll done this next time.
Okay, I'm just asking
Yeah.
that
No,
question.
we need to
because
do
it
this
seems-
tonight.
We're gonna have to do it again
Well, we'll have to do it again
Possibly,
sometime. Yeah.
near future.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Well, we can name who we want on the signature, but we do have to make the removal.
okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Any other questions? What's the pleasure of the council on resolution 2024-06?
Move for approval.
Can I add one more thing before I second? We do for banking purposes, they are going to require in the minutes who we are wanting to be added and who are we wanting to be deleted. So we do need to make that in our motion whenever we present, because if not, they're gonna come back and say we don't have it listed and it's gonna draw it out.
So would you like to make that part of your motion?
Yes, so let's see, now it be resolved with the governing body of the municipality of Portales, state of New Mexico, that the following are designated signatories for the city accounts at US Bank: Mike Miller, Mayor; Veronica Cordova, Mayor Pro Tem; vacant until filled Finance Director; Timothy J. Cathy, Interim City Manager; Danielle Swopes, City Clerk; and Jen Richards, or Jen Sarr, Richards, Human Resources.
We also need to have who's.
Oh,
going
yeah,
off
and then
of-
the removal of Sarah.
And the old finance director, didn't she? That's on here.
Yeah, I don't see Sarah on this.
And then the removal of Twyla Plan, Finance Director, as of February 14th, no longer with the city, and Sarah Austin.
Which needs to be added to the resolution that we have
Yes,
before us.
Mhm.
We just need to amend the resolution to add that.
correct. The removal of Sarah
So
Austin.
that'll still work, right?
That'll still work. yeah.
Okay. All right, does everybody understand the motion? Motion in a second. Jenna, will you please call the roll?
Yes, sir. Ms. Parker,
Yes,
Mr. Stahl? Mr. Rockler,
Yes.
Mr. Lopez,
Yes.
Mr. Robinson,
Yes.
Mr. Merrick,
Yes.
Mr. Elkins,
Yes.
and Ms. Cordova. Yes.
So we'll need to correct this and then we'll just, everybody will need to sign it when they get a chance, or we'll get it around, get everybody to sign it. So, okay. So that completes our action items. It is now time for city council and staff comment. I'll begin with the staff. Anyone with staff have any comments at this time?
I was just gonna give some numbers for the speed cameras. So for the first 3 weeks, we have seen 1,486 violations.
How many?
1,486. So as of this morning, that's how many warning notices have gone out. Out of the 4,600, 46,170 vehicles that have passed those. So all in all, it's pretty good.
Just want to compliment you on the turnaround on those. They went out really quick. I'm one of them. Thanks for the warning, and I'll try to make sure I don't do it again.
Well, hopefully yours was not the top speed of.
No, sir, I was under the normal speed limit. I just hadn't got it shut down enough in the school zone yet. Gotta get her there before I get to the sign. I got it.
I'm not sure if everybody was able to hear. What was that top speed again, chief?
58 on Globe.
Well,
58.
I can believe it.
Yeah,
Yep.
Was that during a school zone?
that one thankfully was not during school zone,
Good deal.
but during the school zone there, the top speed was 45. So, yeah, so hopefully with the warning notices going out, you'll see these numbers drastically drop.
I can see it already on Globe, people slowing down. So,
No, 25.
any other staff staff comments?
It's the introduction period. But I agree with you.
Anyone else with staff? Mr. Rackler.
I just have a couple of things I asked last meeting about the online response system. I've had some more people comment that they have not gotten a response from anybody when they put in an online request. I'd kind of like to see what the documentation is of who's fielding that and where it goes from there and who's responding to people when they put it in. I know I've put in a couple on streets and Steve's been really quick to respond to them, but I've had people telling me that they're not getting responded to. So I'd kind of like to see the process of that. And that's just me being new. The rest of you may already know it, but I do not. So at some point, I'd like to see that.
Well, and if I may, to answer your question, it escalates. If there's not an answer, it goes all the way up to the city manager email. I've had to respond to several over the last week. Just answering questions, making phone calls for different things. So it is built into the system to escalate if there's not an answer.
If I could just see it, I'd like
Okay.
to see it. The only other thing I have, and I don't know how we deal with it, but on the 23rd, when we have another meeting, there's a, I think, pretty important meeting at Columbus Public Carver Library about water planning for the state of New Mexico. It's the one regional meeting that there is. And it's from 5 to 7 that day, or 3 to 7 that day at Columbus Carver. And I don't think we should go unrepresented at that meeting. So I don't know how we get around that, but I think we should as a community be represented at that meeting.
You realize that was on the same day.
Yeah. Would you like to postpone our meeting a day or move it up a day?
I would be okay either way. I just think it's really important for us.
I don't disagree with
Couple of,
that.
and I think we maybe even put out a deal, it might be a quorum, because I don't know who all wants to go, but I know I will probably go, and I think Eldon will probably go for sure. I don't know if anybody else.
So, could we move that meeting up a day or back a day? Which would be better, Wednesday, the 24th or Monday, the 22nd?
Monday. if
Monday, the
possible.
22nd.
Okay. Well, let's just move that meeting up to 5:30 Monday, the 22nd.
Thank you. I think that was.
Okay, do you get that? Thank you.
Need a quorum notice.
Yeah, and then a quorum notice on the other meeting. All right, Ms. Parker.
Update on skate park. I know I've asked and it's been kind of delayed and people are asking, is it done? Is it not done? What's going on with it? So,
It's not completed yet. They still gotta come back and put the ramp and everything else on it. They'll be back the 19th to work on it.
the 19th. Okay. Okay. Because I did hear rumors of somebody getting injured over there. They were unsupervised, a little guy. And so I just want to make sure that we're covered because I don't want anything to happen and then the city would be liable for that. So.
Can't supervise everybody that goes out there.
Oh, obviously not, but that's what I'm saying. If it's not complete, then is it okay for everybody to be on it then?
The contractor has it open so that we haven't accepted it, so we have no responsibility for it. Until we accept the completion of it, it doesn't fall on us.
But would we be liable for it, Steve, if something was to happen?
Well, there's a possibility you'd be sued. I mean, you can be sued today for anything. So yes, there's a possibility.
But
you could be
didn't we ask the contractor at one of our last meetings, to
While-
put up some orange fencing or something to keep people off of it? So we need them to do that. Protect us.
We'll contact them tomorrow.
Some signs posted, the project's not complete, something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Park closed until complete.
And in the design of that, is there anything put in there to cover that dirt?
We're working towards that. It wasn't in that, we're gonna have to go that portion.
Cause it's just gonna blow out and wash out and leave the pavement, and then it's gonna start collapsing.
Okay, so the design originally was not to do anything with that?
The design originally had, we were hoping for grass. But that isn't a very viable option right now. So we are looking at different materials that we can use. And we have narrowed it down to a couple of different ones. We're just running it by my architects that I have for another project. And we're gonna see which one would probably be better.
So that's not covered under the original grant then?
No,
That's something that the city would be.
no, and I'm actually hoping to use the other grant that we're gonna use, Enhance Healthy Living. That goes towards the park and that sort of thing. So I'm hoping to use some.
And I know at one point we had talked about lighting,
Lighting. yes,
lighting,
ma'am.
which is something very, very important that we want to make sure our parks, and now that we have a new skate park, once it does get completed, that it is lit. So that's in another phase or that's another grant.
That's that's the grant that I'm working on,
Okay,
I guess simultaneously.
okay,
But yes, ma'am, that is a priority.
okay, very good. Okay. Okay, thank you. And then, can we get an update on the work that's being done on 18th and is it Kilgore? Down on the end of 18th, what's going on there? And,
He dug it up and then he had trouble with the subcontractor. They were supposed to be back today, but because of the rain, they couldn't get started. Once it dries up, I got insured today that they'll get in, and get out as soon as they can. But they gotta let it dry up now.
Okay, that's it. Thank you.
Mr. Merrick.
Diane stole my thunder.
Don't part of mine too, so.
I do want to say thank you to the chief because since we had that intersection torn up, there's been a lot of traffic diverting around down Jackson and 17th Lane. Had a lot of complaints from the residents in there about excessive speeds, people running the stop signs. Chief has made a vehicle presence over there, so hopefully that'll slow some people down. But one of the residents contacted me Sunday and said it had helped. So
I was told that too.
yeah,
And I know somebody that lives on that corner, so.
I sit there in about a minute's time and watched several vehicles cut that corner really close. And we're just flying, and then two vehicles went by. They had to have been going 35 or 40 down that street. And there's kids out on that street all the time playing, and down our street also. So I want to make a plea to the people of Portales to watch your speed. Because it just takes a second for someone to step out in front of you and it's too late.
Next time, park a different vehicle out so they don't realize that it's a decoy.
Might not always be.
There you go.
Well, they've been making some patrols through there too.
Yeah, I know. I know.
Mhm.
Anything else, Helen?
No.
Okay. Veronica?
I just want to thank the staff for all the hard work that you guys have been doing. Well, that you always do, but especially over the last couple of weeks. I know that anytime Mike and I reach out, it's been an immediate response, and that has been very, very helpful for both of us. So we appreciate that. And then I just wanted to invite everybody to Jenna's pickleball tournament that she's having on April 20th. She is going through Portales leadership, and we're very proud of Miss Jenna. So if anybody has some time on April 20th, or you want to sign up for a team, then you can go and join the pickleball tournament. That's all I have.
Okay, thank you.
Pretty much everything that I've wanted to touch on has been said, but I do want to reiterate to the staff, very good job. I want to praise y'all. It's been a tough week for y'all. And it's going to continue to be a little bit tough as well. So I also want to thank Steve for all your work on the softball complex, getting water there. Our opening day is Saturday, so everybody come out and watch the Portales Roosevelt County Little League. Got food trucks, lots of stuff going on there. It's looking really neat. And then on 18th Street, I want to reiterate, slow down. I had all my kids in a wagon. And I've started doing this to people stepping out in the road. Well, now my 2-year-old has learned to do that. So if he does that, I apologize for driving by. But slow down on 17th Lane, please. Well, that's it.
Okay. Nothing, Oscar?
Yeah, I think the speed cameras are doing well, Chief. I noticed we got a little letter from the district office. Couple of buses violated violated the speed limit with their warning. And what was confusing is that April 15th or April 19th, it's going to be the 19th is the last day, or is it April 15th? Where you get the warning.
Will go live with actual violations.
Okay.
So slow down, Oscar.
I know it's not, no, I don't think, as a matter of fact, I have a reputation of being the slowest driver. So, but thank you, so it's the 19th. Yes. Okay, thank you. Thank you for the camera, because it's working.
I hope so.
Well, I'd like to reiterate, are you done? I'm sorry. Oscar.
Yes, okay.
I'd like to reiterate and thank the staff again. I really appreciate it. I know it's been trying, but you guys have really done a great job, and we appreciate it. And we'll try to help out the best we can, but keep up the good work. to that point, I think you guys should have all got an email today. We're gonna postpone the retreat that we were gonna talk about finances and all of that. We're still in the middle of getting all of that put together. Javier's back this week. I met with him this morning. There's still lots of work to be done to get caught up before we get some decent financials. And we need those kind of things before we have the discussion that I wanted to have at that retreat. So hopefully we'll get that done post haste. And we'll schedule that retreat again around everybody's schedule, because I think it'd be kind of important. We have our interim budget is due May 31st. And I think it would be helpful if we could have that discussion prior to that, but especially prior to the filing of our final budget, which is July 31st. So, okay. And then lastly, I attended the celebration of the 90 years of Eastern New Mexico University, and the city of Portales was presented with this framed poster celebrating that. So we'll find a place to get that. It was a nice event. Especially considering there was a 40-mile-an-hour wind going on at the same time. So anyway. All right. Our next item is executive session, action to convene in a closed meeting to discuss matters as provided for under New Mexico statutes relating to limited personnel matters regarding interim city manager position. So I would entertain a motion to enter into executive session for that purpose. So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Rackler, and a second by Ms. Parker. Ms. Richards, will you please call the roll?
Yes, sir. Ms. Parker?
Yes.
Mr. Rackler?
Yes.
Mr. Lopez?
Yes.
Mr. Robinson?
Yes.
Mr. Merrick?
Yes.
Mr. Elkins?
Yes.
And Ms. Cordova?
Yes.
Okay, we are in executive session. If you guys will give us a. Okay, we are ready to come back into regular session. I need a motion to do so.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Robinson, a second by Ms. Parker to return to regular session. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I will say that only those items addressed in the motion to go into executive session were discussed. And no action was taken, but action is needed.
I would like to make a motion that we place a Timothy J. Cathy in the interim position retroactive from 3/30/24 up to pay period ending June 21st, 2024 for a payment of $5,538.46
Perfect.
per pay period.
Okay. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We are adjourned.